is a terrifying urban legend that has haunted South Korea for nearly a century. The myth claims that sleeping in a closed, windowless room with an electric fan running can lead to a horrifying and sudden death. The chilling idea is that the fan's cold breeze, combined with the still air, will suffocate the person or cause their body temperature to plummet, leading to fatal asphyxiation. Some versions say the fan creates a vacuum, draining the oxygen from the room, leaving the sleeper to suffocate in their own bed. The origins of this grim tale date back to the 1920s and 1930s, a time when South Korea was gripped by superstition and fear. Since then, the legend has persisted, warning people to never sleep with a fan on in a closed room. Even in modern times, the myth holds sway. In 2011, the Korea Herald reported the death of a 59-year-old man found lifeless with a fan pointed directly at him, reinforcing the chilling idea that the fan had taken his life. Though skeptics dismiss the phenomenon as a mere myth, the fear of fan death remains very real to many. To this day, warnings against the practice are printed on many fans sold in South Korea, a constant reminder that some dangers are said to lurk in the seemingly innocent hum of an electric fan. Fair Charlotte is a tragic and chilling tale that has haunted New England for generations. A story of beauty, vanity, and a chilling price paid for pride. The legend speaks of a young girl, Fair Charlotte, who, on the night of a grand New Year's ball, was so consumed In the eerie world of fame, there lies a chilling superstition, the celebrity death rule of threes. It's a whispered belief, an unshakable omen that warns of impending doom among the glittering lights of Hollywood, politics, and stardom. When one celebrity falls, fans and the media alike brace themselves, knowing all too well that this is merely the beginning, a grim countdown until 2 more lives are claimed. They say that death has a peculiar hunger for threes, a dark, insatiable pull. Once the first life is taken, a sense of dread seeps through the industry, thick and unrelenting, and the clock begins ticking, its silent chimes echoing like a death knell. Paparazzi, fans, and celebrities themselves grow tense, waiting for the next blow to strike. One by one, names appear in the headlines, lives snuffed out like candles in the night. Some insist it's mere coincidence. Others believe that death itself is toying with them, reveling in the twisted rule it's written in shadows. People recall eerie patterns, clusters of stars who fell too close together, as if drawn by some unseen force. Musicians, actors, politicians, all succumb, as if they're unable to escape this chilling fate. Whispers claim that those marked by the rule feel an impending presence, a shadow lingering just out of sight. And as the third life is taken, the specter of the rule retreats, vanishing until the next cycle begins, leaving fans haunted by the pattern, their hearts heavy with fear. So next time you hear of a celebrity's sudden death, listen closely. You may feel the cold breath of fate, hear the ticking countdown, and wonder, who will be next? The rule of threes is always watching, an unseen predator stalking the world of the famous, waiting, calculating, until 3 more souls join its haunting collection. Deep in the dense, shadowy forests of Mexico lurk the Chinex, small, sinister beings of Aztec mythology, creatures twisted by the ancient secrets of the underworld. Known as guardians of the wild, these entities are said to protect mountains and creatures, but their methods are anything but gentle. Those who wander too far into their realm often find themselves lost, surrounded by the whispering shadows of these creatures, who watch with dark, gleaming eyes. The Shinekes appear as tiny men and women, but don't let their size fool you. They are as ancient as the mountains themselves, with wrinkled faces that twist into sly, knowing smiles, and voices that mimic the sounds of the forest. Leaves rustling, branches cracking, animals calling. They're often spotted just out of reach, watching intruders with a curious, malevolent gaze. And if you catch a glimpse of them, it's already too late. Legend has it that the Chinex guard their sacred lands with ruthless cunning. If they catch you trespassing, they'll trap you in their twisted labyrinth of roots and shadows, luring you deeper and deeper until you're utterly lost. And for those unfortunate enough to cross their path directly, the Chinex are said to steal a part of your spirit, leaving you hollow, haunted, shadow of your former self. Some who have encountered the Genex return, but they're never quite the same. They speak of hearing eerie laughter that echoes in their minds, seeing flashes of tiny figures darting through the corner of their vision, and they always warn, never stray too deep into the forest. The Shenekes are watching, guarding, waiting, for they are the keepers of the wild, and their spirits hunger for any who dare to disturb their domain. In the dead silence of the night, a woman returned home to an eerie sight. Her loyal Doberman, gasping and choking, its powerful body convulsing on the floor. Panic surged as she knelt by her faithful pet, its eyes wide with desperation, pawing frantically at its throat. She wrestled with its jaws, struggling to dislodge whatever was caught. Finally, with a sickening pull, she freed a grotesque object, a severed, bloodied human finger. Horrified, she quickly dialed the vet, explaining in broken words the disturbing discovery. "Get here now," she urged, barely able to suppress the terror building inside her. Leaving her Doberman with the vet, she returned home, shaken but grateful her dog had survived the encounter. Yet as she walked into her darkened living room, a sudden chill ran down her spine. Her skin prickled as if she was being watched. Then came a soft, almost imperceptible sound. Something dragging across the floor, moving closer. She reached for her phone, heart pounding, and dialed the police, whispering her fears into the receiver. When the officers arrived, they searched the house. In the shadows of her bedroom closet, they found him. A man crouched and clutching his bleeding hand, his face twisted in rage and pain, his gaze wild. Her Doberman had done more than just protect. It had bitten clean through the intruder's fingers, forcing him into hiding as he bled out in her own home, lurking only feet away. As they hauled the intruder away, the woman shivered, realizing how close she had been to unspeakable horror. Her brave Doberman had saved her life, but the chilling reminder of those bloodied fingers, a haunting trophy of terror, would forever linger in her memory. In the shadowy corners of Chilean and Argentine folklore, there is a creature that terrifies even the most steadfast, the chanchon. This isn't any ordinary bird. It is a dark spirit, a twisted sorcerer transformed, taking the grotesque form of a disembodied head with enormous bat-like wings formed from its own ears. is and sending icy chills down the spines of those who hear it. Legend tells of powerful Machi, sorcerers who could transcend the human form and, through a dark ritual, separate their heads to transform into the Chanshan. As these sinister heads take flight, they prowl the darkness, seeking their victims, driven by an insatiable thirst for fear, with piercing red eyes that glow against the inky sky, and fanged teeth that glint in the moonlight. The Chanshan is more than a mere creature. It is an omen of death, a harbinger of doom. Villagers claim that if you hear the chilling toot 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 cry, you must hide and remain absolutely silent, for the Chanshan can sense even the faintest breath, the slightest heartbeat. Its presence drains warmth from the air, leaving a deathly chill in its wake. Some who have dared to look up at the sky during the cry swear they have seen the Chanshan hovering, watching, waiting, and for the unlucky ones it chooses to descend upon, a strange, feverish sickness follows, lingering like a dark curse. Those who have encountered the Chanshan and lived to tell the tale often describe nightmares that plague them for weeks afterward. Visions of a head with flapping ears, soulless red eyes, and that unending, haunting cry. To this day, the Chanshan remains a whispered fear in the quiet villages along the Andes, a ghostly predator that rules the night skies. So if you ever hear that distant ghostly toot-toot-toot cry in the dead of night, beware. The Chanshan may be circling above, its gaze set on you, eager to claim yet another soul in the darkness. In the grim corridors of 1960s police stations, an eerie rumor began to spread. A dark tool known as the colander lie detector. It wasn't an ordinary machine, but a contraption as twisted as the minds of those who wielded it. Stories tell of police or military interrogators, grim-faced and humorless, who would lead suspects into dim, flickering rooms. There, in the center of a barren table, sat a colander, connected by tangled wires to a clunky, whirring photocopier. With cold hands and steely eyes, they would press the colander onto the suspect's head, the metal pressing down cold and biting. The suspect, bewildered and terrified, would feel every nerve prickling with dread, trapped under that metallic cage as the interrogators began their relentless questioning. For every answer, their eyes would narrow, scrutinizing the slightest twitch, listening to the hum of the machine as if it were an oracle. And then the moment of terror, the photocopier would sputter, lights flashing as it spat out a single sheet of paper. In bold, damning letters it read, "He's lying. No escape. No mercy." The suspect's denials would crumble under the weight of that simple, ominous phrase, each lie printed like a final verdict, sealing their fate in ink. For hours the interrogation would continue, each piece of paper a silent accusation. Those trapped by the colander lie detector soon broke, their confessions ripped from them by fear and paranoia, convinced the machine held powers beyond human comprehension. And while rational minds would dismiss this setup as a mere psychological trick, to those who lived through it, the memory of that cold colander and the whispering hum of the photocopier still haunts their darkest nightmares. They say that some suspects, after enduring this twisted ritual, could still hear the faint sound of that photocopier, a ghostly reminder of the machine that could see through lies and leave nothing but a trail of fear in its wake. In the dark, moonless nights of the Caribbean, a shadow stalks the land, a creature known only as the chupacabra. The name goat sucker strikes fear into the hearts of those who whisper its legend. It is a nightmare made flesh, a thing that slinks through the underbrush, its glowing eyes reflecting the terror of the helpless creatures it hunts. First seen in Puerto Rico, the chupacabra is no mere animal. It is a monstrous, nightmarish predator with a hunger that cannot be quenched. Descriptions vary. Some say it has the spiny reptilian back of a creature from the depths of hell. Others speak of a beast with fangs like razors and claws like daggers. But one thing is certain: the chupacabra is a bloodthirsty killer. Livestock, especially goats, are its favored prey. In the dead of night, it strikes without warning. The victim is drained of its blood. The lifeless body left behind is a grim warning to anyone foolish enough to venture too close. The chupacabra doesn't leave a trace, only a chilling, inexplicable silence in the air, and the unmistakable scent of death. To those who have encountered it, the terror is real, and once you know its name, you can never escape its haunting presence. In the quiet town of Terrell, Texas, whispers of a woman known as Clara Crane still echo through the streets. Her legend, a chilling reminder of the darkness lurking beneath the surface of everyday life. Clara, or as she's feared to be called, the Candy Lady, was once a sweet-faced woman, a stranger to no one, who always seemed to have a said that Clara lured children into her grasp with the promise of sugary sweets, a gleam of kindness hiding the abyss of madness beneath her pale skin. Once they followed her into the shadows, they were never seen again. Parents, frantic with worry, found only the faintest traces. A few candies dropped on the ground, a small shoe, a forgotten doll. The children had vanished without a trace, swallowed whole by the night. The authorities could never find Clara. Some say she was the inspiration behind a real unsolved case of missing children in Durrell, where it was believed she kidnapped and then disappeared them into her twisted, hidden lair. Others claim she still roams the town, waiting for the next curious soul, a soft voice beckoning them closer with the rustling of candy wrappers, until the air thickens with the smell of decay and fear. And if you ever hear the faint crinkle of paper behind you in the dark, or feel the brush of cold fingers against your arm, beware. Clara Crane may be closer than you think. The clown doll is a chilling urban legend that has haunted many late-night conversations. It starts with a seemingly innocent scene. A babysitter left alone with the children in a quiet, suburban home. In the corner of the living room stands a creepy, lifelike clown doll, its painted smile twisted, eyes too bright, frozen in a disturbing gaze. The babysitter, unnerved by the doll's eerie presence, calls the parents to ask if she should move it. But the voice on the other end of the line is calm, almost too calm, as they reply, she can react, she hears footsteps behind her, a cold breath on her neck. The clown doll wasn't a doll at all. It was the murderer, disguised, watching and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The horror, it's always been in plain sight. In the dark corners of Brentwood, New Hampshire, the name Goody Cole still sends shivers down the spine of those who dare speak it. Eunice Cole, a frail, weathered woman with eyes that seemed to see through the veil of life and death, was condemned to be a witch twice. The first accusation came in 1656, when the village suffered one tragedy after another. Crops withered, children fell ill, and livestock died in grotesque, unnatural ways. Whispers spread like wildfire. It was her, Goody Cole, they said. She was the one responsible for the misfortune that gripped their town. In 1673, the accusations resurfaced with a vengeance. Goody Cole was arrested once more, this time charged with witchcraft after the village saw another wave of disaster. Her name became a curse on every passing wind. People claimed she could curse the very earth beneath their feet. Her spells laced with malice and blood. No one truly knows what happened to Goody Cole. Some say she died in a dank, forgotten cell. Her spirit lingering in the fog that rolls over the town, waiting for the next to dare invoke her name. They say if you wander too far in the woods near Brentwood at night, you might feel her cold, dead gaze upon you. Her laughter echoing through the trees as she beckons you closer into her cursed, eternal grasp. In the haunting expanse of the Santa Lucia Range, there are whispers of shadowy figures, tall, silent, and unnervingly still, known as Los Vigilantes Oscuros to the early Spanish settlers. These beings are the Dark Watchers, a mysterious and terrifying Watchers are seen at dusk. Their tall, shadowy forms standing motionless against the fading light. They are figures of silence, black silhouettes, almost human in shape, but too large, too otherworldly to be real. From the cliffs and hills they watch, never moving, never speaking, just observing. Some say their eyes burn with an unnatural light, their stare piercing the very soul of anyone who dares to venture into their territory. Those who have dared to approach report an overwhelming feeling of dread, as though the air itself thickens with a malevolent force. The watchers never make a sound, but their presence is undeniable, heavy, suffocating. And when travelers turn to leave, they are often followed, as though something dark is trailing them through the shadows, just beyond their reach. The dark watchers are a warning, a curse, or perhaps something even older, waiting for the next soul